Hi, welcome to Tony Talks Money. That's the show that makes you grow your finances and your life. I've been a financial planner for over 30 years, and in latter years, I've been a fund manager as well. So I've got a lot of experience in how to build wealth, how to grow it, and how to maintain it and minimize your taxes. So I hope I can give you every time some great ideas to help you grow and develop yourself so you can become financially free as early as possible. Now, believe it or not, I'm now 66. The years have just flown by. So I thought, well, to how can I say, commemorate it, the number's 66, I thought I'd come up with 6 ideas of things I wish I'd known when I was a young person starting out. So here we go. Right, number 1, write down your goals. There was a study at Harvard University many decades ago where the students were asked to write down their goals, and they were tracked in 10-yearly intervals after that. And what happened as a result, the 3% that wrote down their financial goals, wrote down their goals, not just financial goals, they became wealthier than the other 97% all put together. So I think that's testimony to the importance of written goals. You must write them down. And ideally, you check them regularly. You even say them out loud. You memorize them. Just keep reminding yourself, because what happens in life is you have this thing called the law of attraction. And the more you focus on something, the more you attract it. So that's why it's not a coincidence these people became the wealthiest people, because they focused on something they had written down as a goal. And then smaller measures you can take after that. So number 2 is save 10% of what you earn. I'd say minimum 10%, but make sure you don't touch that money. That money has to go away religiously, like any other automatic outgoing payment, say by a direct debit. Just don't touch the money, let it grow. And if you do that alone, that can make you pretty wealthy and financially independent, because most people do the opposite. They spend the money they've got and think, oh, we'll save the rest. Get to the end of the month, there's no money left. Not a good policy. Third thing, buy property as soon as you can. Let's face it, rent is dead money, isn't it? Why do you want to pay rent to enrich another landlord? Buy your own property first, because the odds are you're not going to pay much more than you're paying in rent already. Okay, you've got to find the deposit, but in the UK now, you only got to find a 10% deposit. You're not the same as buying an investment property where you need a 25% deposit. So buy a property as soon as you can. And if it's a struggle to pay the mortgage, why not get a lodger in, especially if you've got a spare room. Don't use it just as a junk room or as a room to dump stuff in. You might as well use it, monetize it. That could go a long way. When we bought our first property, we got a lodger in. And she stayed 5 nights a week, and I only came to Milton Keynes at weekends. We couldn't afford the mortgage, really. That's the way we did it for the first year or two. That got us off the ground, really. That's a good idea to do that. So the lodger was the 4th idea out of these 6. The 5th one is start creating multiple sources of passive income. Now, the lodger could be your first one. So basically, it's money you make while you sleep. Now, there are no end of ways you can create these multiple sources of income. It could be you could become an influencer yourself on social media, for example. You could write a book, an ebook or an e-guide. You can have pre-printed materials, for example, like mugs or pens or T-shirts. If you especially got any graphic design skills, you don't even need to have that, because you can just use the internet to do it for you. There's no end of ways you can do it. You could rent out your car, rent out your parking space. There's lots of things you can do. So just find the ones that appeal to you the most. Even just trading on eBay or Amazon, just buying things that people need. Do a bit of research. What do they need? Amazon will do all the work for you, for example, in terms of delivering and ordering and selling. It does all the work for you. So that's another good source of passive income. Well, not so much passive. You have to do some work there. And the other thing I should have mentioned really early on, I think, before we got onto the property buying, was if you're young enough that you're still at school watching this, you haven't yet gone to university, do consider carefully, should you go to university? I mean, these days, in my opinion, too many people go to university. When I was at school, only 8% of A-level students went to university. Now it's over 50%. I do think degrees are very devalued today. If you're going to work in a career for the rest of your life, it's probably better to have a degree than not have one. because on average you'll be paid more. But if you've got any entrepreneurial streak in you, I wouldn't have thought it was that necessary. But also, you can get professional qualifications now by going through an apprenticeship. If you can get an apprenticeship instead, you won't walk out of university like the average student with £55,000 worth of debt. Certainly worth considering, because the fact is that this student debt isn't really a debt. Really, the way you pay it back, it's more akin to a tax and can be as much as 9% of your income. That's a huge amount of money to lose when tax is already quite high, in my opinion, in the UK. So do consider it. If you're going to go into the professions like medicine, for example, or law or accountancy, you may have no choice other than to go to university. But just think carefully, is it truly worth it in your situation? Because it might be a wiser choice not to go down that route. Anyway, there's 6 tips from a 66-year-old. I hope you found them helpful and wish you all the best of luck in your endeavours. Have a great day.